There are things that we experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in a corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us, share your story, share your evidence, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is Minnesota Ghost Box Radio.
And this is Minnesota Ghost Box live streaming on ParaX Radio. Hello, my name is Greg Bakken, coming to you from, thank God it's over, St. Michael, Minnesota. Thank you for joining me tonight. Obviously, this is the day after our 2016 presidential election, and whoever you voted for, you gotta be glad that it's over one way or the other. If you have done your part and voted, thank you. And if you haven't, why not? Okay, well, that's the only bit of the soapbox I'm going to be on. Enough about politics. What better way to get past this than talking about one of our favorite topics, which is, of course, the paranormal. I thought it'd be fun to talk with a paranormal investigator who is part of one of the most well-respected groups of all time, who have spawned other groups around the country. A lot of groups are part of the TAPS family. TAPS, of course, standing for the Atlantic Paranormal Society. But we're going to speak with someone from the SyFy series that features them, called Ghost Hunters. Tonight we talk with Shari DeBenedetti. And Shari became interested in the paranormal field at a very young age, as she experienced many strange and unexplained things. But it wasn't until the age of 25 that she began to research and investigate the paranormal, because the house she lived in at the time was believed to be haunted. Shari and her family had many frightening experiences there. It was so bad that she was afraid to go into the house alone, not knowing what was going to happen next. That's when she decided to start investigating with her friends and eventually formed a team. Shari wanted to help others who were experiencing paranormal activity so that they would be comfortable living in their homes. Whether for client or for fun, over the years she has also investigated hotels, historical properties, cemeteries, forts, lighthouses, office buildings, apartment complexes, and restaurants. Shari, welcome to Minnesota Ghost Box.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I would like to invite all of our listeners to join into the conversation. You can do so by visiting our chat room. It is located at www.para-x.com. And on the main page, it very clearly says, listen now with live chat and join in. And I do have to say that since I posted, Shari, the announcement that you're going to be on my show, it's kind of been crazy on my Facebook page. A lot of people have been very excited about it. So all I'm going to say is I expect to see a lot of those people in this chat room, because we're going to have a fun conversation tonight. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, well, and also thank you for staying up a little later. You're in a different time zone than I'm in. It's a little bit later, and I know that it's late, so I appreciate it. And we're gonna try to have some fun tonight, talking about ghosts and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna start off, going through your intro and stuff. I'm curious about the experience you had at the age of 25 with the haunted house that was really frightening. Are you able to tell us some of the stuff that happened there?
Of course. You get the regular, the door openings and the lights going on and off, and the footsteps, and so, just the regular stuff.
Yep.
But the apparition would also appear in front of us. Mm-hmm. When I say us, my family, I was living with my parents. And, for example, one night, I came home late and, just getting into bed, and it felt like there was a, hands that I was on my back, and it felt like somebody put their hands over my wrist and pulled, kept me down, and then put their hand over my mouth, and then put their hands on my ankles, just to kind of keep my body down.
Mm-hmm.
But there was nothing in front of me. Couldn't scream, couldn't yell, couldn't do anything. And then all of a sudden, this apparition appeared in front of me, and it looked like a doppelganger of my boyfriend at the time. So, for a split second, I'm thinking, was he here? Like, it was late. Is he here? What's going on? But then he was walking towards me, and then I realized that he doesn't have a face. So I pretty much just saw like the outline of him. He was dressed like my ex would be dressed.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And you have the head, the outlining of the head and stuff. But when he got closer, it was just black. Like he didn't have a face or anything. So he started walking towards me, and then just leaned right over, kind of like right above me. And then he just got up. He was probably there, maybe, I don't know. These things feel like forever, but I'm sure it's probably only like a few seconds.
Sure.
And then, then he kind of, got back up and started walking towards the door. And I heard the footsteps on the rug. And then, once I started seeing him towards the door opened up by itself. And then he left, and then that's when I noticed he didn't have any legs.
Wow.
And then the door slammed behind him. And then everything was lifted off me, and then I was able to talk and move after that.
Was that? Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, was that the only time that particular sort of encounter happened? Something like that with a doppelganger sort of entity?
Yes. I mean, nothing else ever held me down after that. And I wasn't, like ever scratched or anything. It was just, in the beginning, before that even happened, there was just, like I said, like the regular noises and doors and stuff, where we were nervous anyways. And just that, just such a negative feeling walking into the house. So we lived in the house maybe for something like 5 years. But the first couple of years, there was nothing. It was just, it just felt like a nice, clean house. And then just one day, all of a sudden, it became very negative. So I don't know why. I have no idea. We never went back into the house to actually investigate and figure out what was going on, because we already moved out of the house once I started, my own company and investigating and stuff. So, and obviously I couldn't ask the new owners to go back in there. So,
right.
So I never did figure out what it was and why. But we had another entity in there that my mother always saw. And she described that one as kind of, the top hat and the long beard, kind of like a Abe Lincoln type of look. Mm-hmm. She always saw him walking around the house. But he never did anything. He would just walk around. There was one night, I should say, my door slammed open in the middle of the night, slammed open, and my dog ran out into the hallway, and then all of a sudden my aunt was in from out of town, and she's like, "Oh my God, I just went by the cage," and because I had a bird, and she's like, he's upside down. Why is he hanging upside down? I'm like, I don't know. He doesn't hang upside down. I don't know. And then while she's telling me this, he starts flying around the house. I'm like, well, how the hell did he get out of the cage? Because, he's had the bird for 8 years, and he's never gotten out of the cage. I don't even know. But,
right.
Just weird things like that. Things would be flying out of my mother's closet, like, her pocketbooks and stuff. They would be just shooting out of the closet. And so, the house alarm would go off all the time when she never said it. But it would constantly go off. The police would come, just because she called them. She'll be down there with the pad, and it'll say, the basement door. And of course, the basement door is right in back of her, so it's, kind of like a horror movie,
Oh, yeah.
So she's like, oh my God, so she's freaking out, and just a lot of crazy things. So that's what kind of got me into figuring out what's going on. You know, why is it all of a sudden one day it's perfect, and then the next day it's crazy, and yeah, it's pretty bad.
Did you have anything happen to you prior to that? It sounded like that there might have been some interest prior to that. Did you have any experiences with paranormal type stuff growing up?
Yeah, I mean, there were, I used to see things here and there. You know, you think you see things out of the corner of your eyes, and you think you see things moving, and, you know, so there's a lot of little things that I remember. And, of course, I used to play with a Ouija board, like probably everybody else. And I used to have a lot of things going on with that. Whether it has anything to do with the Ouija board or not, I have no idea. But we used to get a lot of things. When I say we, there's me and my friends used to play, and then, you know, you get a lot of other skepticals that come in, and, you know, that board doesn't work. And so not even just playing with the board, we always used to get everything else moving. And
what do you mean by get everything else moving?
Like, you know, we were playing with the board, but when you're playing with the board, it doesn't, when you're asking it questions, it never really gave the right answers, but we would still keep our hands on the board, but we would say, you know what, move the ceiling fan, you know, and then the ceiling fan would move, or move the plant, or, you know, move this, move that. We'd always, whatever's in the room, we'd always tell whoever's in there to move it. And I mean, 99% of the time, like, things would move. And one of the last times that I actually played with it, again, I had family coming in from out of town, and, you know, they've heard all these stories about, you know, when I played with the board, and so they're like, all right, we want to see things, you know, moving. So I'm like, all right. So we get out, there's probably maybe like 10 of us, and you know, we had a whole bunch of things moving around, and still they would give the answer of, no, that was probably the air, or this, you know, an answer for everything. I'm like, okay, fine. So I took a pencil and I put it in the coffee table. I said, okay, you know, move this pencil so that everybody can see it. And all of a sudden the pencil whipped off the table. So whipped off, it's so fast, it flung by somebody's head. And so that's why I was like, oh my God. So I started getting nervous. I'm like, all right, I need to stop playing this, because now, like, that freaked out everybody, obviously. But of course there was one person that was like, oh, somebody could have just done that. Of course, with a force like that, nobody could have just blown it, you know. And,
no.
And obviously you would have hurt somebody, you know, with that force. But
it's crazy.
You always have that one person.
Oh,
you know,
yeah. Always that one skeptic that ruins it for everybody.
So I'm like, so me, I need to, like, prove it again. So I'm like, all right. So I grabbed the pencil again. I'm like, this is the last time now. So I put the pencil on the table again. I'm like, okay, you need to move it again so that everybody sees it, but it needs to stay on the table. It cannot come off the table. And then all of a sudden it just started spinning in circles, like, really fast. And so I'm like, okay, that's it. That's all I need. So, and then that was it. And I never played with it again, because that got me too nervous.
Yeah, that's not really playing with the Ouija board. That's more of a first act to a horror film, you know, where it all starts innocently enough, and then
I know.
Yeah, that's
doesn't end up quite good. Yeah.
Did you ever find out who that was on the other side? Like
with the Ouija board?
Yeah,
no, no, you know, I played with it for years. And whenever we would, you know, and I guess, what do you say, like, what type of days in the spirit world, or I don't know, you ask all these whatever questions that you're supposed to. You know, we did all of that, and every time we asked who it was, it never gave a correct, not a correct, because I don't even know, I wouldn't even know if it was correct or not, but it would fool around a lot.
Yeah,
you know, or if it was something, and like something that if you're thinking something, and if you're thinking Bob, Bob would come out on the board, like,
Yep.
so we really didn't pay attention to anything it was saying because we just figured it was our own energy just kind of pouring through, and putting the names down. So
it's interesting because one of my earlier shows on Para X, I brought in my friend Adam, and the reason why I brought him on because he, at a young age, was using the Ouija board, and he actually contacted Zozo, and he got the arcing of going between the Z and the O on the Ouija board with him and his sister at a very young age. And this is a long time ago. This is before it's shown up on different paranormal series and stuff where he had no idea what it was. And because it kept doing the arc on the Ouija board, he went and with his sister and they looked up what is that, like in an encyclopedia or in something. They had to go to a library and look it up that way and found out what it was. And it was something that actually had ended up staying with them for actually quite some time. I mean, it's very scary actually. And it's I've never heard of, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen because it just seems so unique to me that you're able to say like move the ceiling fan and it works. So do you think of yourself as a sensitive at all?
No. You know what? Very little. I don't want to say no because, every once in a while I do pick up on things here and there, but not that much. I mean, I do need the equipment. Mm-hmm. I definitely need all of that. But, I have picked up on, for example, a older gentleman was a spirit was living in my house, and when he came into the room, that's all I could feel. Like I just felt like a grandfather. I just kept thinking, that type of feel. And at first, it was actually pretty good. It was like I kept thinking, well, maybe it was my grandfather. Maybe that's what I'm feeling because it was a nice grandfather energy that I was kind of picking up. Mm-hmm. However, when I decided to, my family and we decided to move, all of a sudden he became nasty. And then you feel that, I felt that grandfather feeling, and I felt that he was angry. So I do feel it. So maybe if it's, I guess if it's in my house and it's like a personal thing, I would feel it. But when I'm out in the field, I don't feel it that much.
Is that, Sure. And is that, I don't want to say frowned upon because I don't want to make it sound so formal, but is that something that generally you wouldn't do anyway? I mean, especially like doing anything along with the taps or anything like that. It seems like that they're much more, more of a scientific method, more of like concrete. So is that just something that if you were picking up something, do you feel like you could mention that, or do you kind of just have to keep it to the equipment and whatnot?
Well, no. I mean, we can mention it.
It's just not quantifiable,
but I just,
right?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I could say, I'm like, I just feel like there's a little bit. I mean, I could say it, but yeah. I mean, it's you. Of course, you want the equipment. You want a little girl's voice on there. So which helps that feeling, So if you say, I feel a little girl for some reason. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, we get a little girl's voice on the recorder. So I mean, and then you put all of that together, which that's all that information definitely helps.
Sure, get your validation. Yeah.
Right. But again, I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium. And I'm not there to really pick up on that anyways. I mean, like I said, I definitely need the equipment.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, like I said, I pick it up, but it's very, very rare that I do.
Mm-hmm. Now, what stood out for me, and I was really happy to hear, is like, it sounds like before you did anything with Ghost Hunters with your own group, is like what you really want to do, as it says in your bio, that you wanted help people who are experiencing paranormal activity so that they would be comfortable living in their own homes. And I think that, that's you take it for granted that that's what everyone should be doing if they're doing a paranormal team to some extent, but it's not the case. You're in a very unique position where I want to ask the question, because it's one of the things that I focus on a lot in the shows, is what do you think of the current state of the paranormal field?
Well, I don't know. To me, it seems that there are a lot of people that are out there wanting to go into the homes and to help people. I mean, unfortunately, there are some people that are out there, but like any business, I think, just you get a few bad eggs that just go in there just to do the investigation, and I don't even know. I know that a couple used to charge, but this was a couple of years ago. I don't know if anybody still even does that, but I don't think that's right.
No.
But I don't know. I haven't really been paying too much attention to a lot of other people. I just of course, I know the TAPs, which obviously we would never charge anybody, and we're in it to help the people. Help our clients, help homeowners, help business owners. And a lot of the people that I know personally, that I've been meeting throughout while being with TAPS, they're all pretty much the same way. I mean, just great people, down to earth, and just wanting to, and helping each other out. I've been talking to so many people, and it's not, I did this and I did that. A lot of people that I've been meeting are actually, well, let's do this together and let's do this together. It's not so me, which is great. I'm sure there's some out there maybe that's not, but like I said, the people that I have been meeting have all been wonderful.
And you've been able to get out to a lot of shows, right? I mean, like a lot of like events and stuff, and meet fans and stuff.
I've been to, previous TAPs, I've been to a lot of events. While I'm on TAPs, I've only been maybe to one. I really haven't. Two probably. I'll be starting to do events next year. Let me see. There's I can't remember, in May, I want to say, like St. Albans Sanitarium. I'll be finally doing. There's actually a lot that I've been wanting to go to. So as soon as I know more about that, like I said, as soon as I know more about that, I'm going to tell people where they can go. And then this way they can either look it up, and also I'll be posting it too. But next year I'll be doing a whole bunch of events all over the country.
I like to tell people where to go all the time as it happens. So it's one of my, I can understand why you'd like to do that. A couple weeks ago, I actually saw Dustin and Steve. They didn't see me. That's not as creepy as that sounds, but I was there. We do a big convention in Minnesota called Paracon, and actually had Steve, Dustin, we had Grant there. So you should see about being able to go to that one, because it's a good time, it's a good show, and they really take care of everybody out there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. What I think I'm going to do this a little bit early. I think I'm going to take a break right now, and we're just going to get through some stuff, because after the break, I'd like to continue to talk with Shari and move strictly to talking about ghost hunters, talking about kind of what's going on with the series, and just about how the series works, and just talk a little bit about that. And I also want to take some questions from the chat room, so if you have any, please send them our way. You are listening to Minnesota Ghost Box on Para-X Radio. And welcome back to Minnesota Ghost Box, doing some live streaming on ParaX Radio. Thank you for joining us tonight. Our guest tonight is Shari DeBenedetti from the SyFy channel series Ghost Hunter. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Shari. Really appreciate it.
Oh, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you very much. Before we get back to Shari, wanted to go through a couple things real fast. As usual, I always want to remind people, if you could check out our web series. We are at youtube.com/MN Ghostbox Official. We have a teaser up there for our next episode over at the Soap Factory. We're going to have some episodes out very soon. So please check it out if you haven't seen what we have out there. It's a lot of fun, and we're very proud of it. There are a couple events coming up that I'd like to share with you. This Saturday, November 12th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at No Knots Professional Massage and Body Works in St. Paul Park, Minnesota, there is a seminar, Living an Empathic Life with Ease. Please join our very own Nicole Hopala and Gina Farrell as they teach this phenomenal workshop about how to live an empathic life with ease. This workshop will teach us what it means to be an empath, and will also show you how to recognize where you and your child may be struggling as a result of your empathic nature. They will teach you how to overcome these struggles by working with tools that every empath should have to create a sense of balance, boundaries, and a state of being grounded. The cost for the class is $30 per person. Seats are limited, so reserve your spot soon. Please call No Knots office at 651-768-7102 or go to No Knots Facebook event page and click on the ticket link to reserve your seat. Just do a search on Facebook for No Knots. That's NOKNOTS, and you'll find it right there. And I'll put the link up on my Facebook page. And then finally, Things That Go Bump Minnesota have another great event coming to the Palmer House next week, November 18th through 20th, and Minnesota Ghost Box is honored to have been asked to take part. Come and join us for another fun weekend of investigating and learning about ghosts and spirits. Special guests include Suzanne Worthley, along with Nicole and myself from Minnesota Ghost Box doing presentations. We had a lot of fun with the Spirit Box work with guests last April, and we'll be doing a lot more of it in November. Check out their website for full details. They're at www.thingsthatgobumpmn.com/events. I'm going to put that up on my Facebook page too. Space is limited, so please book now. And then on my Facebook page, you can go to facebook.com/MN Ghostbox, and you can follow us on Twitter. That is simply at MN Ghostbox. Also, you can go and to our website, which is www.mn-ghostbox.org, to contact us, listen to past radio shows, see our web series, or listen to some of our Spirit Box evidence. And we just put up a great page about smudging, so please check that out. And of course, for a while, it'll still be over on SyFy.com page, and go to www.syfy.com/ghosthunters to see what's going on there. And then TAP's page is www.the-atlantic-paranormal-society.com, and their Twitter is at Ghost Hunters. Shari, every time I go through all this stuff, I get my tongue tied because there's just so much I talk about. And you know what? I think people retain about 0.1% of it. So I don't know. I think I might have to do this differently going forward. I'm just tired from speaking.
I think you need to make sure that they have a pen and paper before they can give all the information.
Please type up the following information. It's a lot, and you think you're helping people. In fact, all you're doing is kind of spewing a lot of words. But like I said, I'm going to have it up on my Facebook page and other places. So if you have any questions, please ask. And then want to talk a little bit now about Ghost Hunters. I want to talk about a little bit about the show. So it's last episode had aired on the SyFy channel about, I think it's 2 Wednesdays ago. Do you have any information about what's happening next for the series?
I have no information. I pretty much have the same information that you all have. So when Jason posts, we share. That's pretty much it. So, he keeps saying that that it'll be coming out soon, but I don't have any information to share right now.
But fans probably shouldn't despair is kind of what we're probably looking at, that somehow, some way, something that it will carry on in some form, do you think?
I can't even answer that.
It's a loaded question, isn't it?
Yeah, I really can't say anything right now.
Nope. And
So,
that's fine. No, it makes for a good interview. It really does.
when I can't answer you.
Have you thought about a job in government? No.
No.
Nope. It makes a ton of sense, and that's kind of what I thought. But at the same time, it was like, we got to ask, because I know that people are wondering what's going on, and I think just the fact that even saying that you can't really talk about anything or you don't know anything, it actually, I think, gives hope, and that's kind of cool. And I think we're all hoping that there's going to be some cool announcement or something down the road. So that's pretty exciting. Right. How did you get involved with Ghost Hunters?
Well, I met Jason and Grant and some of the other crew years and years ago. When they first started, they did the events. So my ex-husband now, we went to the events, we met them, and we just kind of all hit it off, and we stayed friends for all these years. The way that they investigate, we absolutely love the way that they investigate, and that's pretty much how we were investigating also. And we learned a lot from them, and throughout all these years, going to other events, our families would hang out, we were just close with them, and so just when there was an opening, I just got the call, if I wanted to come on in and check it out. And like I said, we're friends. We know each other. He knows my personality. He knows how I am. He knows how I investigate. And I knew people from the team. So it just going in there, it wasn't a shock, I guess. I don't know. It was just pretty much nice and clean, and you've seen Dustin and Steve and Dave. Just so down to earth. KJ, Sam, everybody's just very come on in. We'll help you out and this and that. And I think the only thing that was kind of strange, which is still strange to me, is the whole camera crew issue. Somebody following you around. So it did take me a little time to get used to that.
Otherwise, it felt right? It just felt...
Yeah. It just, right when he asked me, I was like, wow. It's obviously it's a tremendous opportunity, and how can I say no? It was amazing. Of course, I'd love to be with this amazing team, and at that point in time, I stopped my other team that was at home due to other issues. I just stopped that, and then he called me, and so it just happened to all work out.
How long have you been on the show now?
My first episode was season 10, episode 11. So, I've been with them for 2 years now.
Sure.
But for a full season, and then some of the season 10.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I did want to ask about, you kind of touched on, was the whole camera crew thing. Do you feel that ever is a detriment to getting good evidence, or is that just kind of kind of a par for the course sort of thing?
No, I mean, it's pretty much the same as if we're out with our crew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of bodies there with, you know, with their cameras and equipment, so it's not really a big, you know, deal. For me, it was just because I just wasn't used to it. You know, I'm holding the door open for the camera guy. You know, they're like, "No, Shari, you need to stay in front of the camera. Like, don't worry about the door. Be at the door. Just keep walking."
They don't exist. So, yeah.
Right. So, you know, I was just trying to get used to that. But I mean, they're not making any noise. They're standing right behind us. And you know, so that wasn't a big deal. The camera in my face? Yes. I'm not really liking that, you know, or if we're going up the stairs and they're behind me, you know, just things like that, you know, is just a little weird, but otherwise, in the car when they're just standing there in the car scene. So, you know, so there was a little bit getting used to, and also because you're mic'd all the time, you know, so you got to not watch what you say, but if we happen to be talking about something personal or something, you know, you always have to remember that everybody's listening to your conversation, so be careful what you say.
Do they have, is it generally the same camera crew every time? And the reason why I ask is the idea of like having a crew of people who kind of know how to interact in a investigation setting, so that they're not people who are just like clumping through and making noise. You said that they're very quiet. Is it generally like a same group that just knows what they need to do and how to act in those situations? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How does that work then? Like in terms of doing an episode, I don't know how much you can say. I just really don't know, but I'm going to ask and just tell me, you know, to shut up. But like when you start investigation at a location for an episode and you end, I mean, how does that work? Are you guys shooting all night at a place, one location, or do you do it over a few days, or how are you able to shed some light on that?
Yeah, I mean, we're at a location for a minimum of 2 days, depending on how large. Obviously, if we need to stay there for, you know, 2 weeks, we'll stay there for 2 weeks. But it's always at least a minimum of 2 days, and it's usually, you know, 12 to 15 hours a day. Mm-hmm. So, in one of the things that I'm just thinking of the comments, you know, that we get on social media sometimes, mm-hmm. Of, you know, wow, that was quick, nothing happened, and oh, that noise, of course it's a noise because it's a boat, and it's not. What people don't understand is that we are there for hours and hours and hours. So, you know, when we're there, it's just like any other investigation. It's not just because, you know, if it's TV, but investigation, you sit there for a while and you kind of figure out what all the noises are, and you know, you check, and you know, and that's part of the disproving and debunking of every little thing that you can, you know, hear and see and everything. So, you know, so we're there for a very long time, and we're, you know, just investigating, and also, you know, you see all the times we switch teams. And, you know, we go into the same rooms over and over and over again. We'll sit there for hours, and because, well, you never know when something is going to happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, and then, so anyway, so we investigate for a couple of days, and, you know, and then all of us as the members, we go through all the equipment. And, you know, it's not other people doing it. We're actually doing it. We're going through all the evidence, all the recorders, everything. We go through all of that. And then we, you know, you see us at the round table at the end. They don't call it the round table, but, you know, they put the table at the end. And, you know, and then that's when we go through absolutely everything and you know, and get everybody else's, you know, so what do you think about this and what do you think about that, which is great. You know, it's not one person, over another. Everybody's equal, and which is another thing that I absolutely love about the TAPS crew, is that, everybody has a voice. It's not, sometimes you get some of these team members, oh God, when I used to own, not own, but when I used to have my team, some of the people that used to get in there used to just come in and, the know-it-alls and you need to do this and this is how I do it. And, there's just no room for that. We need to work together, and, everybody can have their own way of investigating, and that's great. And everybody can learn from each other or teach people. That's great. But you need to be open. And you don't, dictate to everybody what to do. It's just everybody has their own way, and which is another reason why I guess I get along with Pat. Just, it's everybody. I mean, we pretty much do a lot of the same things anyways.
Sure.
But we discuss everything and we talk about everything and what we think and what we've all experienced, and, so.
I think it's really cool that you guys are going through all of your own evidence, and I don't know why I would have ever thought otherwise, because that's the kind of group that you guys are very, very strict with that sort of stuff. That has to take a long time. Are you guys, if shooting at one location in different rooms at the same time?
Locations are different. Oh no, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Very few people do.
Yeah. No, the one team. If there's a place that's huge, then I mean, you can go in and you can be, an attic in one place and a basement, and you won't hear, but. If the place is really that big, we'll have the two teams go in, and we'll just make sure that we can't hear each other. So there's a lot of testing that we're doing, beforehand, before we start. Just, we'll yell or do it or stomp your feet or whatever it is, just to make sure that other team really, honestly can't hear you or pick up anything on the recorders or anything, because obviously you don't want any of that contamination going on.
Right.
But those are the really big buildings. Or if they're separate buildings, then obviously, one team in one building, another team in another building, that we can do that. So as long as there's no contamination going on, then we can do that. If there is, then obviously now it's just one team in there at a time, and obviously the night goes on a little bit longer, but we, you do what you gotta do.
How long does it generally take for a location to go through like all the evidence or all the recordings to get evidence? How long does that generally take?
Again, that'll depend on how large the place is, how long we've been there, Again, I'll give a minimum of 2 weeks and then go kind of from there.
Wow. A decent amount of time. Yeah, that's good. And then do you guys have a pretty strong, pretty full schedule for shooting and stuff? I mean, do you like go to a location, go listen to evidence, and you go on to another location, or do you tend to go to a couple locations and then listen to a lot of evidence at once? And I only ask because I find television production very interesting. So I was just kind of curious how you guys are doing that.
Yeah, no, we do start to finish with one location, and then I mean, at least that's what I've been doing. I'm not sure about the past of anything, previous to me. I'm not, sure. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But just with my schedule, that's how it's been.
What, when you investigate, do you have a favorite piece of equipment that you use?
I really don't have a favorite. I mean, obviously, you need the recorder.
Yeah.
I do like the thermal because, I mean, how cool is it when you actually see something through it, you know?
It's pretty cool.
I mean, the EMF machines, of course, you need those. You know, you always need that. You of course, the REM pod and the K2, you know, you like it because you kind of get real satisfaction right there, right then and there, you know. You know, with them, with interacting with them, you know, and having them actually do what you say, you know. So if you say, you know, touch us 3 times and they touch it 3 times, I mean, it's just, you know, I mean, it's exciting, you know, when all of that happens. So I don't really have a favorite. I kind of, you know, I use them all. So it's, yeah.
Is there anything that you use that you had used and you're just like, no, this does not help. This is not something that I would really use again?
Let me think. Well, I don't really care for. Now, some people do, so I don't really want to say anything. I don't want to say anything bad about it. It's just something I just don't really use. It's like the dowsing rods, like the pendulum. They never worked for me. You know, I know some people like to use that, and obviously I don't use the Ouija board anymore. So.
Well, I was going to say you don't need any of that. All you need to do is you point at a ceiling fan and it starts going off. You have something different going on than the rest of us. So, yeah, that's not even paranormal. I don't even want to know what that is. But
I don't know. You know what? Also, something else. There was this puppet in my room. I don't even know. It wasn't a puppet.
I'm sorry. You just said puppet. This is not going to end well.
Well, it was one of those string puppets.
A marionette. That's
you know?
This is act 2 of the horror film we talked about earlier.
Like, it was a horse. It was a horse one. Okay, so yeah. I was little. I was young, and so I had it like up on my ceiling, and I was playing the Ouija board. Like I said, I started using the Ouija board when I was very young, and I used to play with it by myself also. So again, I'd be, you know, move this and move that, and again, I was young. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know even if it was a ghost or not. I have no idea. But something was moving, and I just thought it was pretty cool that I could make things move without touching it. That's what I was thinking. That's what was going through my head when I was this little. But so all of a sudden, I was like on my bed, and I'm like, okay, make that puppet move. And all of a sudden, it started swinging. And so I was like, oh my God.
God.
It was swinging like really swinging. It wasn't just like a little sway. It was like really taut. So I ripped it down from my ceiling and I threw it in the closet. And then after that, I've never seen it before. Like I never saw it again. That was it.
Like it disappeared from the closet?
Yes. I have no idea where it went. No idea. Yeah.
You know what's going to happen? I'm going to go into my room, and there's going to be a marionette horse on my bed. Like it's like The Godfather, but the paranormal version of it with a marionette horse head in my bed.
That would be so cool if that happened.
Yeah, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? That would really be top notch. I'm also thinking that I'm probably going to sleep with the lights on tonight because of your ghost stories.
Let me tell you, there's many nights I slept with the lights on. Let me tell you. Oh God, yeah.
Well, so it's kind of a good way. We had a question in the chat room. What has been your scariest situation that you've encountered? You know, and I'm gonna leave it up to you whether it's from the show or from, you know, let's actually do it from the show because you kind of given me a little bit from that house and your marionettes and all that stuff. How about from the show? Is there anything that you're just like? Oh God.
Honestly, everything prior to me having, even like prior to TAPS, and going and having my own paranormal company and stuff. So everything up until then was more scary for me. Only because I started researching, started investigating, and the more I knew about kind of what was not new, but kind of what I kind of understood of what was going on, and that you shouldn't be afraid of everything that moves and this that. So I'm not really afraid anymore. I've never been scratched that I can remember. I've never been like pushed or shoved that I was afraid of it. I've been pushed, but it wasn't, to me, that wasn't scary. It was just a, hey, I'm here, I'm over here type of thing. I'm always asking for, hey, pull my hair, hey, push me, hey, do this, do that, and they do it. And it's not to scare me, it's just, it's just them doing it. So I'm not afraid. So, really, honestly, so the scariest thing was when I didn't know what was going on, and that was pretty much, in that house, and even the few things that happened with my regular life, like there's a lot of things that happened that I was not afraid of. But remember, I was discussing the old man that was in my house when we were deciding to sell it. He became angry, and so when I went up and down the stairs, that scared me. So it's more, I guess, personal things that more scare me than anything. And it just felt like he was pushing down on me. So basically, he was trying to push me down the stairs. So if I was going up the stairs, I'd be, holding on to the railing really tight. Going down the stairs, holding on really tight, just because I felt like his hands were like on me, trying to push me down. So it's more of personal experiences that got me a little bit nervous. On the shows or doing investigations, if I'm out of my house, I'm a lot better. I feel better. It's kind of just, in my house when I have that type of stuff going on. Knock on wood, it hasn't happened for a while, but that's when I'm nervous, actually.
Yeah.
And, and because I have kids. So, me being the mother and the protector and everything, that's what really scares me is, I don't want anything in my house. I got the kids, and that's why I'm nervous.
So you haven't had like an attachment or anything from any of the locations from the series or anything, have you?
No.
Okay, that's awesome.
No.
That's good.
No. I do say my prayers. I am spiritual. I'm not really religious, but I am. I don't really go to church or anything. But I believe you could just do it anywhere you want to. You don't really need to go to church. Just my beliefs. So I do say my prayers, and make sure my protection is around me, and before I do go in, and before I even get into the car to go home. So.
And now I think I might have forgot to tell you, this is actually a 2-hour show. No, I'm just kidding. We only have a couple minutes left. This is going to be kind of a silly question because you can point to a window and it'll shatter. But what do you have any like evidence that you've picked up yourself that you're like really think it's pretty amazing, like pretty awesome stuff?
Gosh, there's a lot. I've caught a bunch of, there's just shadow figures and videos of the shadow figures, and the one thing, I guess, when I think of amazing, only because again, it's a personal thing.
Absolutely.
My grandfather passed away, and 6 months later, I caught his arm in the mirror. So I went into his room and I started taking pictures, and then I actually got a picture of his arm. And when I say, it's like you can picture your family members of what they look like and stuff, So, I mean, there's his hand, and then there's his PJs that he always wore, like that plaid grandfather, like PJs and stuff. But I was also talking to him at the same time. So, of course, I have all my equipment set up, and I was getting those responses from the machines, talking to him. So while I was doing that and while he was responding, I was taking the photos, and then I also caught him in the mirror. So I mean, just seeing that, I don't know. It was an amazing feeling, for me.
Yeah.
Catching that.
I think too. I was just going to say real fast that I think too that when you lose someone very close, and I know that it's a time of mourning and stuff, it's like really opening yourself up to accept any kind of messages, because the same thing happened like with my dad when he passed, and it was just like, for me personally, it was it was like almost a spiritual journey of him interacting with me after he had gone. And it's something that I personally, it was like you said, you see that arm in the mirror, it's like, you're going to treasure that forever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty intense and pretty crazy. But that's pretty fantastic stuff. No, I mean, and that's the thing, like you said, the evidence collecting, like what's special to you, what really stands out. You're right. It is super personal, but it's also fun to hear what you've heard that like really would be very cool for all of us to hear. So that's cool that you shared that with us. That's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, is there any way that you want people to get a hold of you, since I negligently did not include that with all the other information? Is there like a site or something that we should be directed to, or?
Well, to follow me, Twitter and Instagram at Shari Marie 826.
Okay.
And Facebook, Shari Marie DeBenedetti. I do have a personal one that doesn't have my middle name, but the Ghost Hunters one does have my middle name. Facebook won't allow me to change it, so I was trying to like separate everything, but it just doesn't. So at Shari Marie 826, and then Shari Marie DeBenedetti, and also I will also once it gets closer to the events that I will be going at, I will post them. But there's another website, which is Ideal Event Management. So idealeventmanagement.com, and I am under that. So once they start promoting me on certain ones, I'll be on that also. So, and I mean, you could also see other ones too that the rest of the team and others are that are doing all the events that are coming up.
That's great. And then I'll just send you a note afterwards and make sure I have all the ones that you want me to include, and then tomorrow I'll post all those URLs also. And then feel free anytime that you have something you want to promote. If you just want to send it my way, I'll make sure that I post it on my pages and stuff too, and would love to promote wherever we can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Shari DeBenedetti, thank you so much for taking the time and talking with us and having such a fantastic episode. Thank you so much for being on tonight.
Oh, you're very welcome, and thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. And as always, I just want to thank Sarge for running the board and stuff for me tonight. I will be back on the air on November 23rd, and hope that you'll join us then. Take care, everyone. Bye.